What's up, family? This is your boy Raymond, and you're listening to New Wave Real Talk. Thank y'all for y'all support, and thank you for checking out the video today. As you see, we're dropping a video on a different day. Today is Monday, so get used to that. Get used to seeing me twice a week on your social media feeds, on your YouTube channels. Well, it's our YouTube channel, but on your YouTube, in your feeds. Hopefully you are subscribed to us over on YouTube. If you're not, go ahead and do that right now. Search New Wave Real Talk on YouTube. But basically, yeah, you're going to get 2 shows from New Wave Real Talk beginning now until, I would say, the month of mid-August. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, hopefully you guys like the content that I'm going to pump out and the show topics. This show is going to be a little bit different from other shows that I've done in the last couple weeks. This show is mostly about entertainment news. We kind of touched on it a little bit with my last guest, my wife that was here last week. On our last week's show, we talked a little bit about Will and Jada. So we're going to start doing a little bit more of that. If you guys like that, let me know. If you don't, also let me know that as well. But here we go. You're listening to the New Wave Real Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Raymond Riley. This podcast is everything Black culture, covering the latest topics in politics and entertainment.
If you have
Thank you for listening.
Office and haven't done a thing to further the cause of African American people in your community, then you do not deserve to hold that office. Period. A referendum on the status quo.
Here we go. Let's talk about Tamar Braxton and her suicide attempt. And I wanted to make sure I do this as delicate as possible because I like Tamar. I'm a huge Tamar Braxton fan. I believe that she is good for TV. I think that she's like an awesome person, like in real life. I've never met her, but I can only assume that her energy level is high. I think that she loves passionately, like the people that she loves, she really loves them, and she will go to bat for them. Like that's just what I believe about her. And I think that right now she's dealing with a very difficult time. And I think the whole Braxton family is dealing with like a difficult time. Anytime somebody in your family attempts to take their lives, I mean, that is a call for help. That is a cry for help. Not only is it a cry for help, but I think it's just a sign that, you know, something is just not going to be able to continue the way that is going, right? And I think that for Tamar Braxton, this is an opportunity for her to reevaluate what's important to her. But let's talk a little bit about what could have led her to do this. Now, again, this is just commentary. Like I said, I wanted to preference it that I'm a huge Tamar Braxton fan and that I really do support her as a person and her career in TV. I mean, I'm always trying to watch her content, even on her YouTube channel, when she started doing with her and David. I've watched a couple of her lives. So, I mean, I really do support her as a person. I think she's an awesome person. So let's talk a little bit about what could have led her to this. And this is just all commentary and speculation at the end of the day. But her portrayal on TV is the role of the angry Black woman. You know, I know just by watching TV and social media that she has been working tirelessly to try and change that narrative for her. Like she doesn't want to be identified as this angry Black woman all of the time. Like there's a fight with somebody all the time. Right. I think that she, you know, I mean, when you look at her life, I mean, it's just been just like a drama, you know. I mean, it's just been a lot of stuff just from the outside looking in. I mean, we're not in her house. I'm not in her house. I'm not connected to her, but I can just only see it from afar. And I will say that they do portray her as a person. I wouldn't necessarily say angry, but I would just say drama filled, or I guess the new terminology nowadays is messy, right? You know, or throwing shade or whatever these, you know, these hyperboles or quotes or whatever meaning, whatever. But they try to portray her as this person that's just extremely aggressively attacking or being the driver of conflict. It's come out now that she was very unhappy with the trailer for her new TV show that that's going to be airing on WeTV. She thought that, again, it was another attack on her as the angry black woman. Most people are saying that was the final straw for her that got her into this situation that she's in now, with her suicide attempt. And I think that, you know what I mean? Like, put yourself in like a normal person, you know what I mean? Like, try to put yourself in that predicament. Nobody wants to be the person that is the known person associated with drama or mess or conflict. I think that it has a place. I mean, obviously, entertainment and TV and reality shows have to be entertaining in order for people to watch it. But I think that outside of the entertainment or outside of the reality TV, her life should not constantly be a drama. You know what I mean? That you should be able to turn it off. But anyway, people are saying that the trailer for her new TV show is what got her to this point, to the tipping point. Nobody will ever really know that for sure until Tamar is ready to come out and say whatever she wants to say. Because I really don't feel like she has to say anything. Like, that's her life. You know what I mean? Like, if you go through a time like that, that is your life and that is your situation. And you have to deal with that the best way you know how. And it's not left up to you to explain to anybody your life. That's yours. You know what I mean? I think that this is a sacred time for her to really reevaluate what's important. Like I said, you know, she has a son that she absolutely loves. I mean, and I'm saying this like I know Tamar, but I can just see just in the things that she do share with the world that she's a passionate mother. And so I think that she's definitely gonna have to do some soul searching for sure. And then, so let's talk about one of the things that's circulating now around social media is the fact that she had a tweet that was started, but it was not tweeted to the world, but she sent it to her family, basically just saying that she feels that she's being portrayed unfairly. She also feels that her master, as she put it, WeTV, and basically is not allowing her to control her own life. Like, everything is about drama for the master. She also said that before she will continue, she will choose death before she continues to serve the master. And then she asked to please help her. So she was crying out for help. And it also says, her family also said that she had made several comments about possibly suicidal thoughts over the past year. So, I mean, she's been going through it. You know what I mean? I think what we all can do as fans, if you are a fan of Tamar Braxton or just a human being, right? Just another human being to another human being, is to just pray for her to make the best decisions from this point and to evaluate what is important to her. But at the end of the day, guys, her life is caught up in this because her livelihood is centered around reality TV or entertainment, however you want to put it. I do think there are, and this is where, in my opinion, this is where our brothers and sisters can help to step up. Our brother Tyler Perry, our sister Oprah Winfrey, all of the creators and writers and producers and actresses and actors. I think that this is where, you know, we have to try and give people an opportunity to express themselves in different ways and different lanes. And basically what I'm saying is this is probably an opportunity, or should be more opportunity, for Tamar to focus not only on reality TV, but try to focus more on acting and actually syndicated roles, to where her life is not in a public display for people to judge or to ostracize or to whatever. You know what I mean? I think this is an opportunity for Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey to step up. And do you have a role for Tamar? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. Okay. But I think that that's what we can do is basically just support her and love her through this difficult time and just keep her family in prayers, man. I really love it's crazy like that I'm sitting here talking like I just know the Braxtons, but I feel like they are like a great family from what they have displayed on TV. And but as Tamar has said so many times that, you know, she feels that her family has been sold out, you know. They have been sold out to this monster of WeTV, and they are also they're in a public battle right now with WeTV regarding their pay. Tamar claims that they make 75% less than the Kardashians, and there's no villain on their show. But I believe the Kardashians is on a whole nother network. But still. You know what I mean? She's just trying to show the parallels and the differences between the two shows. And I think that is a valid question. I mean, but again, them being on a different network, maybe it goes to that conversation. You know, we got I should say we black people in supporting Oprah Winfrey support the own network. I mean, that should be a conversation. But what did you sign? What was the contract? Can somebody else buy that show? Can you do a reality show on another network? Right? I mean, and so all of those questions, the general public would not have those answers to, but we got some brilliant lawyers in this world. And so I think that's where we got to step up, man. So keep Tamar Braxton in your prayers, and keep loving her through it. But so far, the reports is that she is stable. Her family has visited her. Her friend Nene Leakes has put out a comment basically saying that she's talked to Tamar and she's also talked to David. And so she's wishing them the best as well as the rest of us. So the reports are good, positive that she is okay and that she will be okay health wise. But I think that, you know, she just had to make those decisions from this point moving forward. All right. On another note, Porsha Williams, y'all keep Porsha in your prayers too, because Porsha done got locked up in Kentucky. So Porsha Williams went up there and she was going to help Breonna Taylor family protest because as we all know, Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home while she was sleeping. And there has been zero accountability for the most part. There's just been a lot of passing of the buck, a lot of talking around the truth. Okay, so there was one officer that was fired after the shooting death of Breonna Taylor. But the other no officers have been formally charged as of right now. Also, talking about Breonna Taylor, there's a lawsuit now that Breonna Taylor was actually alive for some 5 to 6 minutes after being shot. So it brings up the question of no one tried to treat her. No one tried to provide any EMS services. Nobody tried to do anything. They just killed this woman in her home and then don't try to render aid as if it was okay to just kill her in cold blood. So that in itself, man, it's just, I mean, it's hard to stomach that. You can't stomach that because it's unjustifiable to kill anyone in their home that had no threat to you. And then on top of that, when you shoot them, when they shot her, they didn't even try to render any aid. It makes absolutely no sense. But talking about Porsha Williams, she was actually involved with the protest that actually became a story to where 87 protesters were actually charged with intimidating the public in Kentucky. Porsha Williams was charged as well as an NFL player and 85 other people who gathered in Kentucky in protest of Breonna Taylor. So right now, they were all charged with felonies, but the attorney, the prosecutor, has dropped felony charges as of 2 days ago. So the charges were basically upgraded from a misdemeanor to a felony, and now the prosecutor has dropped that felony charge against them. I mean, it to me, it makes no sense. You charge these people with a felony because they are protesting and that they're demanding justice for a woman that was killed in her own house. And then there's zero accountability from the police department. There's zero charges against the people that actually terrorized this woman in her own home and killed her subsequently, and then did not even render any aid. But you round up 87 protesters and throw them in jail and promptly charge them with felonies and all these charges. But you can't justify, or you can't charge these officers that use deadly force without having a warrant, without having probable cause. They wasn't even supposed to be in Breonna Taylor's home. You know, so it's messed up. You know, so at first they tried to give Porsha Williams no bond, no bail, no bond. And then they gave her this felony charge. So now they've downgraded the felony charge. So I'm sure she'll receive bail. All because she was protesting the death of Breonna Taylor, which was a great thing. We all have to galvanize and vocalize our disdain for the system. If it's broken, we got to fix it. It shouldn't be a us versus them. It should be a us versus, it should be all of us versus the corruption of this country. And if we all see corruption, if anyone sees corruption, we got to call it out for what it is. And I can't even use the word corruption because it's not really corruption. It's just straight up racism, straight up systematic institutional racism that was designed from the beginning of the ending of slavery to keep us enchained and restricted from the full indulgence of this country. So Porsha Williams, y'all keep her in y'all prayers as well, because I think she's going to definitely need a lot of that, because obviously her trying to do good and vocalize her disdain for the system in Kentucky, she was treated in this way. So we will prevail. We will prevail. It will be fine. At the end of the day, good versus evil will win every day, all day, because you can't defeat good. Good is just good, and it is blessed and highly favored, as they would say. So let's go ahead and jump into the next story. Monique. Y'all remember Monique, right? She's a comedian. I love, actually 100% love Monique. I love everybody I'm talking about. But Monique, you guys all knew she called for a boycott on Netflix a couple years ago. She did. She said, "Hey, black people, my people, y'all stop messing with Netflix because they discriminated against me and they're racist." Right? She came out and she said that. Not only did she say that and make that claim, she went ahead and sued them. So she sued them for discrimination against her. Her claim is that they did not try and negotiate a salary for or negotiate a offer for her to do a Netflix special. They came to her. So let me paint the story. So she sued them because they were discriminating against her. And here's how they discriminated against her. So they approached Monique about doing a comedy special for Netflix. As we all know, Netflix has been really focused on creating their own content so that they can separate themselves from other streaming services like Hulu and Sling and all these other streaming services. They wanted to produce, or they are producing, their own series, on movies, on comedy specials. They're just creating their own content. So they approached Monique, which I think would have been an awesome comedy special, by the way. They approached Monique with an offer of $500,000 for a special. Now, This is a woman that is profoundly recognized as a legit comedian. Okay, she's not just getting started out. She's not new to the scene. This is a woman who's proven, who carries accolades for her craft and for her skill set. So they approached Monique with an offer, and Monique found that offer to be very insulting. Which, you know, when you approach somebody and you want to start negotiations, I understand. You may come in with an offer that is just to get the conversation started, to say, hey, I'm interested. But it's not a legitimate offer in most cases, right? When you are negotiating with someone, you typically just throw the lowest thing out there just to see if you can get them to bite. Well, they did that. They threw it out there, and Monique said, hey, no, I'm not interested in that. For that price. I'm not interested in doing a special for $500,000. Now we can talk numbers. We can talk and make sense of the numbers, but I'm not going to just agree to $500,000. So Netflix says, okay, thank you. No, thank you. We don't want any more conversation with you. Now this is what is odd, because you're talking about a huge corporation called Netflix that is dealing with multi clients and multiple projects, and by way of series or movies and comedy specials. So to approach a top level comedian like Monique, because again, she's not brand new. She's not someone who's just getting started in their rise or claim to fame. Monique is a veteran by most definitions. She is an accomplished comedian who has done tremendous good in her skill set, in her craft. So Monique says, no, not interested in it for that price, but let's talk. So Netflix says, nope, not going to do it. Now, for them, and me going in to just say how they've been working on all of these things and talking to all of these different clients, there's no way that I'm going to believe that every client that Netflix approaches, that they accept the first offer. I'm not going to believe that. Nobody will believe that. Nobody that's competent will believe that. So why did you do that with Monique? Why did you tell Monique, hey, I'm not interested in negotiating with you? But you negotiated with Amy Schumer. You negotiated with, other acts. I'm not going to go down the list because, quite frankly, I'm not going to go down the list. But you negotiated with all of these other acts, but you did not negotiate with Monique. Why is that? Now, Monique is claiming because they were discriminating against her because she's black. Now, that may be a tough fight to have, but I think that she is definitely within her right to sue them for not negotiating properly when they negotiated with everybody else. And that's just unethical. It's unprofessional, and I think she should definitely have sued them. So I do support her lawsuit against them. We cannot continue to allow folks to treat us like crap and then just sit back and accept it. And that is why I say I support her lawsuit, because she is standing up for herself. And in so many cases, people don't stand up for themselves. Just like what happened to, or just like not only do people not stand up for themselves, a lot of times we are guilty for not standing up for our brother or our sister. Steve Harvey was popular in his position of not standing up for Monique. He basically said, hey, my bag is secure. I'm not going to go out there and mess what I got up. But karma has its way. Karma is the best thing we have in this universe, because it will always correct the situation. Anyway, I'm going to leave that at that. Closing out today's show, we're going to talk about August Alsina. Let's jump into August Alsina. So, August Alsina is beginning to be like the Candy Burris of R&B soul singing, or R&B. I don't think he's soul. R&B, hip hop, whatever genre you want to call August Alsina. I call him R&B. He's like an R&B cat, right? But he's doing what Candy Burris has done for so many years, which is to create a spin on her mess in her life, right? So we all remember Candy Burris, or we know Candy Burris from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Candy Burris is probably one of the most progressive housewives, definitely in the Atlanta cast, but I would go on to say in the franchise, because this woman is notorious for turning things into a profit for her, like with the whole Porsha Williams versus Candy Burris, about the whole attempted or alleged, no, I'm not gonna say attempted, alleged, because Porsha alleged that Candy and Todd wanted to rape her or torture her sexually against her will in a dungeon. This is what was on reality TV in Atlanta the last couple of years. So Candy turns that into a complete whole idea. She turned it into a whole show, and she toured it, and she made money from that idea that she didn't even get. Now that's an entrepreneur. That is an entrepreneur, someone that can identify an opportunity and capitalize off that opportunity. But let's go back to August Alsina, because that's what he's doing now. August Alsina is using his pain and using the things that he's been through to capitalize off of it. He wrote a new song called Entanglements. He wrote a new song called Entanglements, y'all. And I heard the song. It's actually a nice song. Him featuring Rick Ross. So it's actually a nice song. So I definitely urge you guys to go and listen to it. He also says that he, in previous interviews, because he's now spoken since Jada and Will came out and talked about the entanglement. He actually supports the word entanglement. He said that it absolutely describes what they had. Which, basically the word entanglement in his interview, he said it describes a complicated relationship, and that's what they had. It was a complicated relationship. So he absolutely supports the term entanglement. So y'all can get off of Jada about the word entanglement, because now Alsina approves of the word entanglement. He says that is what they had. So you can't get mad at her anymore for downplaying it, because August Alsina agrees that it was an entanglement. So, so definitely, man, he did what he was supposed to do. He capitalized off of that freaking word. And I think that, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Allow your life to not only be a journey, but allow that journey to make money for you, right? And as I said, I think I used the best metaphor, which was Candy Burris, because that woman gets it. She gets it. So that's the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for listening. Hopefully the show was a lot more entertaining, but it was a little somber, especially talking about Tamar. But at the end of the day, thank y'all for listening to the show. Also, you can listen to other episodes anytime, anywhere, directly on your smartphone. Go to Apple Podcasts, type in the word New Wave Real Talk, all separate words, and you'll find our podcast. You can listen to other episodes that we have. Also, check us out on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast version, the vocal podcast version, that's what a podcast stands for, the audio only version, know that we do have a visual to this podcast. So if you want to see my face, then go over there to YouTube and come check me out. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next week.